Today we are going to take a look at Tanjong Katong, Sec 4, Prelim 2021, Paper 1, Question 11. It is given that fx equals to 2 minus 3 sine 3x and gx equals to 4 cos x over 2 minus 1. Question 1, state the least and greatest values of fx. We're going to do together with question 2, state the least and greatest values of gx. Okay, we have two functions here. Question 1, okay, so we're going to take a look at the independent number, standalone number here, number 2. Okay, to get the least value, we're going to minus here now. This minus will give you the shape of the trigo graph. Okay, so we're going to take these two, which is the middle of the graph, minus away the number of here, so which is minus 3, we get negative 1. Okay, so this is the least value for function fx. Then we do 2, we add this number here, 3, we get 5. This is the greatest value, okay, for fx function. Then we're going to do the same thing for question number 2. The standalone number is this number here, negative 1, okay, which is the middle of the graph. And then we are going to minus this number here in front of the trigo, minus 4, we get negative 5, which is the least value of gx. Then we do the same thing, middle value with the middle of the graph here, we add 4. Okay, so here we get 3, which is the greatest value of gx. Okay, now let's look at number 3 and 4. State the period of fx, that's number 3. Number 4, state the period of gx. Okay, so same thing we're going to do here, 3, 4. Okay, so for period of sine and cos, we're going to use the same thing. Okay, in radian, we're going to use 2 pi. If it's degree, we're going to use 360. Okay, if you take a look at the question below it, you will have to sketch a graph from 0 to 180. Okay, so they didn't mention about what to use above, but if you look downwards, we're going to use degree mode. Okay, so I'm going to just use 360 in question 3 and 4. So we're going to take 360 divided by the number beside the x value, which is 3 here. Okay, so we get period for fx is 120. Then question number 4, this one you need to be careful. Notice that I say the number beside x. This is not beside, it's below. Okay, so this one is actually is written as half x. Okay, so when you do period over here, is 360 divided by 1 over 2. Okay, so you get 720. Okay, moving on to question 5. Sketch on the same axis the graphs of y equals fx and y equals to gx for 0 to 180 degree. Okay. All right, we are going to use the information above, which is very useful. That's why I leave it there just now. Right, so we have the least and greatest here, and we know that we need to start the middle value at 2, okay, and we also have period 120. So I'm going to draw a small, tiny shape of this negative sign graph beside this 120 to let you know how it looks like. So we will have this shape, okay, because it's a negative. This one gives you the shape of this sine graph, okay, which is in this pattern. Okay, it just means that you need to draw this graph in 120 degree, okay, one full period. So how about this one? This one is a cos graph, this is positive 4. So this one full graph will look like this way. One full cos graph in 720 degree, okay? But question 5, they only need you to draw until 180, correct? Okay, the thing is I don't have to draw and erase. If you learn the technique to just think about how many times you need to draw it, okay? I'll show you how to do that. And also the planning is important, but since we have question 1 and 2, we know that the highest we need is 5, the lowest we need is 95, okay? So I plan it so that I draw in the middle. So we go up to 5. And we go below until -5. Okay, let's start with the first one. I have 120. I draw one complete sine graph. I need 180. Okay, maybe I'll do it here. If I have 120 degree, okay, I need to draw one. Okay, one as in this pattern. Okay, is one full graph. So which means if I draw half of 120, it will be half of this graph. Okay, and now we need to draw 180. So we add this two. We're going to draw 1.5 of this graph, okay? So to make it easier, I'm going to split this to 3, okay? So I can draw this one 1.5 times. Okay, also take note that this is the center of the graph, this point to this point. We need to start at this number 2 here. So find number 2 here. Okay, so this is my one graph, and then this is 1.5. Okay, so when I complete one graph, this point here should be 120. Okay, so this one full shape start with 2, ends with 2. Okay, and the middle here is also 2. Let me just plot it here, okay, to guide me a bit. And then we'll go down. The minimum value here, which is here, -1. So here's -1. Okay, and I'll move up to 5. Okay, so 5 will be this point here. I'm going to put a guiding point for myself. Okay, so let's just join the point. Okay, I complete one sine graph, and I need to draw half over here. So same thing, I'm going to draw a guidance point for myself and the minimum value somewhere here. Okay, so I'm going to label this one that I just draw. This is fx equals 2 minus 3 sine 3x. Okay, there's one graph. Second graph here, we have 720 to draw this one full graph. I'm going to do here 720. Okay, I'll do one full graph. Okay, so let's halve this value. So I draw half a graph. I need 120, and then I halve again. Okay, so half of half, 1/4. Okay, so 1/4 meaning if you draw half is this part, so 1/4 is this tiny bit only. Okay, this tiny bit of graph. Okay, so you need to be careful because you draw the highest point, which is 3, until the middle of the graph, which is actually -1. Okay, the start of the graph is at 3. Just plot it here first. This is the start graph, which is 3. Okay, until the middle of the graph, which is -1, which is this point here actually. Okay, so this point here. So maybe I'll just use red as well. End of the graph will be at here. Okay, I know the point is a bit far. Okay, so try your best just to draw from the start to the end of the graph. Okay. Right, roughly. So we're going to label this as gx. Okay. So we have finished sketching them on the same axis. Of course, we've got to label your axis. This one will be x. Okay. This one could be y or fx, so it depends on how we label this graph. Okay, this function in x. Okay. Now let's take a look at the next one, which we have find the number of solution to the equation 2 cos x over 2 plus 3 over 2 sine 3x equals to 3 over 2 for 0 to 180. Okay, and this one is find the number of solution, not find the solution. So we're not going to solve it. We're just going to see how many solutions are there. Okay, so this is a follow-up question for your sketching a graph. I'm going to erase the top part so I can show you because I want to see the graph later. Okay. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Okay, in order to use the sketching, we need to see this one, either one of these on the left and another one on the right. Okay, so let's observe what it gives us here is 2 cos x over 2, and what you have in your graph here is 4 cos x over 2. So step 1, we are going to multiply by 2. Okay, so I get the same thing over here. Okay, multiply 2, this one multiply by 2, you get 3 sine 3x. And this one multiply by 2, you get 3. Okay, so we got this one. Okay, and then we need a minus 1. We don't want this one, right? So I'm going to shift this away first. Okay, we already gotten this. We need minus 1, so we're going to minus 1 both sides. Okay, so 3 minus 1 will be 2. Okay, now let's observe. This one is actually this one, which is the gx, right? This one is the gx. And this one is fx. Okay, so it basically asks you to check the sketching of the graph when gx equals to fx, meaning how many intersections are there. So let's take a look. This is 1, this is 2, and this one is 3, right? So therefore, we have 3 solutions. Okay,